now. This was in 2010, the wettest year I ever had in my life. I don't want to never see that again. Yeah. Well, I had corn, so it could have been probably the end of August, early September, and you noticed the land, it was just soaking wet. I didn't hay until October that year. And it was just junk. I had to sell half my cattle herd. And the only thing that kept me farming was that CSA garden. I had enough money coming in that I survived it. I'm still pulling out of it. But now I expanded quite a bit. I go through Melfort and PA now, and then down Saskatoon, Regina, Fort Capel, back to Kenora. And the delivery system is the same type of deal, only I went to when I started, I used individual boxes with names on it. And after about 3 years, I went, this is crazy. Now it's all bulk, in tubs, lined up, help yourselves. There's a blackboard up there saying this is the pounds that you can get, this is the bags you can get, help yourselves. It's an honor system. So that's working a lot better for me, but it's still the volume of product coming out of the back of the truck. I'm getting too old for this. But that's the next problem. Who's going to take over? Like my membership said, where are we going to get our food from, Keith, if you quit? Well, yeah, well, I'm going to have to someday. Anyway, what else can I tell you about this thing? That picture of the trailer and the thing is, I did get the roof on, but I still haven't got the tin on the walls. But right now that trailer is full of probably 13,000 pounds of potatoes and probably about 8,000 pounds of carrots. I've got 1,600 chickens sitting in freezers, and tons and tons of tomatoes this year. Frozen tomatoes in bags. It's amazing what the volume was this year. And one of the big reasons this year is because I pumped a lot of water on that garden in August. It dried up. And a lot of people were complaining about their yields this year of potatoes. And, thank God we pumped water on it. So anyway, I'm up to about 130 people in the 3 cities and surrounding countryside. And it's starting to make money for me. It's starting finally. It was a lot of years. This is 8 years now. We started with 35 people, and there's one original right there. She's no longer with me because, there's another one. Original people that actually in 2007, 2006, I said to my friends, my organic friends, what do you think? What do you think if I started a CSA? Yep, right now the checks come out anytime, whenever you want to start, Dave. Nobody said that I was a crazy fool for doing it.
Well,
they wouldn't say that. Huh?
We knew that.
Yeah, I know, but you wouldn't tell me that. So, as a stubborn German English guy, I just said, bear down, let's go. Had no idea what I would. The only gardening I did before this was I was so sick of eating. Well, I didn't eat stored tomatoes. I'm not going to eat that. I'm going to grow my own tomatoes. So I had a little tomato garden, and the tomatoes were just fantastic. So I'm growing well. And I was selling beef at the time. I started selling organic beef around 98, right? Yeah. Me and Mark, the beef guys. We were gonna set the world on fire, weren't we, Mark? Anyway, it went kind of sideways. You sold a little bit of beef, but you never made any money at it. And I was at the farmer's market, and the rules and the things about that is just, gotta find a different way. And the CSA model is a great thing for me, as I said, is because I get steady money year-round that I can plan for, I can budget for, I can hire people to help me do this. I have 3 guys coming up from Nicaragua now. Randolph and his 2 brothers, Alfredo and Omar. And they are so happy to be here making money that it's not even funny. Thing is, pay a minimum wage, give them a place to stay. It's all in the rules of temporary foreign workers. But these guys, these are university-educated men in computer work that never could get a job. And these guys are 28. Well, Randolph's a motorcycle mechanic, and he gets work. But these two, his twin brothers, younger twin brothers, never got a job. They were university educated on the Nicaraguan's government's dime because they were top 5% in high school. Get out of university, no work. And whatever they could find is about $300 a month down there is the average wage. So when they come up here and they go unlimited hours in the garden, you know, they're making $2,000 take home a month, they're happy. They go home with enough money to get ahead. You know, so they're happy to come. They miss their wives and kids, but you know, like there's lots of guys that leave and go up north too to work. Anyway, they got an opportunity to come up and work, and they work out really good for me. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't have that kind of help. There's just so much. There's so much weeding on the garden in the city to get any kind of a garden production. So that helps. I got two women in the kitchen. Marianne is just a workaholic. She's 65, 67 years old, and she can't quit. Well, you know why she can't quit? She's got a gambling habit. Her husband says, no, you're not going to get the money. No, you don't make your own money. You want to gamble it away, you make your own money.
That was for me. That is for me.
And Sibarni is actually Indonesian, but Canadian. They just moved to Hudson Bay area here about 2 years ago now, and looking for work. And she's only 4 miles away from me, so I said, "Yeah, you want to come and help? Fine." So she's working out good too. So that's the crew I got, and the girls are just finishing up the tomatoes this year. Now, like I say, I probably got 5,000 pounds of frozen tomatoes sitting in there, and we can tomatoes too. We got about 500 jars sitting, you know. So and lots of frozen veggies.
Do you just can them straight, or do you turn them into a sauce?
Nope,
and then
just can straight.
Yeah.
Just can straight. Yeah, we don't. Yeah.
Your storage facilities are obviously cool. What kind of energy source do you?
Oh
use?
yeah, I'm running line power.
Okay,
Oh
so you're
yeah,
coming right off the grid. And
oh yeah, I can't. It's so like these. I'm spending $8,000 a year on power.
Okay.
Yeah, these are compressors. These are commercial compressor units. You know, like I've got a 10 by 10 freezer inside the kitchen, and a 16 like that reefer van, 16 feet by 8 feet other compressor. And we went to line power. The first year I ran the compressor unit off the reefer. There's a little reefer motor, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But that's expensive running it with diesel.
What's your line power coming in? 660, 240, or 660?
240,
Okay.
single phase.
Yeah.
That's
It's pretty typical throughout Saskatchewan.
Yes.
Unless
Yes.
you're in the towns, yeah.
yeah. There's no way. Well, I can go with a 3-phase converter on the farm, but
Yeah,
to
there's
get,
no need for it.
but no. Yes.
How many acres do you have in vegetables?
I would have guessed about 12 acres, roughly. I don't know. I haven't. They're plots of about 500 to 600 feet long, and width of this room maybe a little longer. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them, or 9 or 10. And I keep expanding. It's crazy. I'm nuts. And what I do, it's out on the field, the pasture field, So I'm just going out, and what I do is with cattle, and this time of year when they've got nothing else to eat, I start putting bales out in the plot, and they eat them down, and they start making their compost and stuff like that. And then next year I've got another garden plot that's got that much stuff you work in, and it just works, And the older ones, they take it out of the corrals in the compost and recompost every couple of years. And that keeps the Nicaraguans working good too with that compost, because there are a lot of weed seeds that don't go, the compost could kill them if it gets hot enough, but it doesn't get hot enough around the edges and stuff like that. In the middle, yeah, it gets hot, but it's always going to have some weed seeds. It's nature. Nature of, anytime you have black dirt, you start getting weeds right now. And one of the first weeds that come is sweet clover and whatever, wild mustard, whatever.
Yeah.
And then eventually, couple of years, 3 years, the grasses come in. The grass needs that weed, the tall weed, to shelter it, so the grasses start going and wet. Yeah, so.
Is your garden certified organic?
No,
You don't-
not the garden. The land, the animals, everything is certified organic, and I just kind of drew the line at the garden because it's in-house type of deal. It's membership.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't going to sell it to anybody, not to the farmers market. Don't need that advertising, and it's just one level of hassle I don't need. But since I am overproducing, I think maybe the next step was we'll certify it. It's just another half a day of paperwork.
Yeah.
Sitting in front of an inspector and sweating, but then I can say it's certified organic.
Mm-hmm.
But it is organic in all intents and purposes. I don't do anything other than organic.
Where's your water come from?
The river, the Anamami River, and there's the Robert Creek, right? It's the creek is on a diagonal on the one part of my land on the south side of the gardens, running into the river about a quarter of a mile away from the house, upstream. So I can pull out of the creek or I can pull out of the river if the creek dries up.
Okay, so you got good, not too high of salt levels or sodium levels in your.
That river, it comes through the bush. 90% of that river is in forest.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about.
Pesticides.
See, that's my problem is that how am I gonna water this thing?
Yes, yeah.
I'm
You
in
see,
the heart
that's,
of pesticide bill.
I'm blessed with good water.
That's a big thing. We've got lines that come from Lake Diefenbake. I don't know if the certifier would certify Lake Diefenbake water as irrigation or not.
I don't know. I don't know what the pesticide.
Anybody that's certifying, well, let me know.
Yeah.
You have to get it tested so you know what's in it.
Right,
And it would be different levels on different times of year, probably.
yeah.
Irrigation Research Center.
They would probably know.
Yeah, they do.
Okay.
You're doing a big route for delivery with a lot of product. What do you have for van?
I actually got two now. I got a fleet of beaver trucks.
Okay.
I bought one. When I started out, it was a Econoline van and a trailer with a deep freezer on the back. And then it was two deep freezers, and then three. And the van is getting kind of up in the air. And then I'm thinking, well, okay, like me, we started out with 35 people, but I knew that we had to expand to at least 100 to 150 people to make it
Critical mass.
right, the critical mass. And but you got to start out somewhere.
Yeah.
What is your name?
And it's funny,
What is your name?
but I thought when it took off the 35 and then the 50 and then 75 and 100, and I'm thinking, well, this is just going to double every year, No, all of a sudden, boom. I went backwards one year. What's going on? This is such a good thing. But it was, like Mark and Mona can tell you that it took 3 years for them to realize what to do with all this produce, because it's a whole different system. You gotta cook, you gotta do lots of different things, to eat it all up.
Right.
And it's the inconvenience. Like, I'm sorry, but people are spoiled in the city. Well, we're all spoiled, put it out. Go to the store. Oh, we need something, let's just go to the store and buy it.
Yeah.
No.
Totally. Yep.
And when I want to go, You know, stores are open all the time. So I'll just, when I wanna go, I go. It's not, oh, I have to meet Keith in 15 minutes, or I lose my food for a week or 2 weeks. So that was a lot like that too. You gotta, to be a CSA member, you gotta be a dedicated too. Like, I mean, I'm dedicated to feed you guys gotta be dedicated to come and pick the food up and eat
Well,
it.
if you've already given 12 post-dated checks, that helps with
Right.
dedication.
I wanted repeat customers.
Right.
I wanted a family.
Yeah.
That they're here and I count on them. And when you have, and it's not so bad now because that's the way it is. But when you lose 30% or 30 people out of 100 that don't resign every year,
Mhm.
you go, what's the matter with me? It wasn't me. It wasn't the food. It was them. Right? They try it for a year. It doesn't work for us. Or we're throwing too much away. Or, you know, like there's excuses on their son or yeah, there was legitimate things. Oh, we're moving away. Or, you know, we're doing a different lifestyle. We're not going to eat that much food. Whatever, you know, sure. You know, but then there's people that say, well, it's just too inconvenient to come in.
Did you come up with an incentive program to re-sign it?
Well, thing is, they make up their mind
Right.
that they're not going to sign again, and that's it.
No, but I mean the dedicated customers, like if you refer, like a referral.
Yes, I did that, and it worked good for 1 or 2 years, but they run out of people that they
Yeah.
know. Right? You know, you're signed on, and you tell all your friends, hey, this is a great thing. You should sign up. You know, and they get $20 or $40 type of deal for sign up a friend.
Mhm.
Well, they run out of friends that'll sign up.
Funny how it goes.
Yes, I know. So what we started doing at the last year or two is starting, well, I got a new website now. It's askechofarm.com. And we started a Facebook page and social media, stuff like that. And I started advertising in papers and stuff like that to put the awareness out more and more. And it seems to be working, so because I am getting more people signing up all the time.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, not just the big sign up in May and in February, March, April, where when the new contract comes up, but people are joining year round now. So that's good, yeah.
From what I'm getting from what you've been talking about, you talked initially about the nitrogen cycle, how important it was to have the animals in the system to keep that whole cycle going. And I understand that. What I'm really gonna ask is this scalable? In other words, you have quite a bit of acreage. You're doing a 10-acre garden or so, I have 10 acres. And can I use this kind of idea with, say, 20 or 30 or 40 people, have a garden, have a few animals, have a few chickens, and still kind of manage it by myself or maybe with 1 or 2 other people?
I don't think you'd go with the big animals because they take up a lot of area, you know. But you could go with, say, a meat animal, a rabbit, chickens.
Bunnies and chickens.
Yeah, you know, they're a small animal. They're on a 10-acre, 20-acre piece of ground. It's manageable type of deal. And
But did you-
and on a 40 or 50 person CSA would work good because you'd only need maybe 3 acres, 4 acres of garden.
Yeah, and that's how I'm looking. I'm not a farmer, but I've opened my eyes up and I woke up to what this GMO food was that we were eating. And of course I quickly trashed all that food. And immediately my body responded. I got healthy. I got a little happier. And now, you know, I have a new vision.
Yeah,
Craziness is maybe
the craziness, yeah.
part of that. But you know, I have this prime little piece of land that hasn't had any chemicals put on it for as long as I've owned it.
Have you got a good water supply?
I believe I do.
Because that's a key thing for growing a
I have
garden.
well,
You gotta-
and it seems to give me water all the time. Now, I don't know the flow rate, but, and of course, we've had lots of water laying around over the last couple of years.
Yeah,
But, so, I'm looking at this whole cycle and having maybe just 1 or 2 cows, or something like that, to just give me that little bit of fertilizer to spread around. And, you know, I'm fortunate across the highway from me is a hay field, okay, if I'm not using the right words, bear with me. Which I don't think is being sprayed or anything. And I'm surrounded by a farmer that does conventional cattle. But, you know, we talk a bit, so I'm sure he would give up a little bit of acreage around my little 10 acres to sort of exploit this idea.
You might have enough compost for you to get going too.
Yeah, I was just gonna interject there that there's a small group that's just starting up, and they doing this small community shared agriculture like that, and the guy running it has linked himself with a fellow who's doing cattle, and his payment into the CSA is in beef and manure. So he does one half of a 1/4 share, so 1/8 of a beef animal plus so many bucket loads into the truck of manure for compost for the CSA garden.
Yeah, just find an organic beef producer. We've got lots of extra. Kick it around. Yeah, it's very organic.
Okay, and then, like, anyways, I'm looking at alternative fuels and stuff, but that's a subject for something else.
Me too.
I'm in the process of, anyways, I'm gonna talk about that some other time.
The only thing I can, justify the power that I use is it's coming from the dams, the hydro dams. It's not.
Well, maybe I'll just spend a few minutes and talk to you after about
Sure.
what I have kind of conjured up and putting together.
But it's very, very energy intensive, to store food frozen and to keep it warm enough that it doesn't freeze in the wintertime. I have a big outdoor wood stove for heat.
Hydronic?
Yep, hydronic heat, and it keeps me in shape all winter, cutting wood and throwing it in the stoves, and it's all pumped, hot water pumped into, like you see in the water lines in the storage, and the kitchen has got more heat, and the house has, and then I have another shop that's heated too. So there's five buildings getting heated out of that.
Burying those things is good too. You can bury those shipping containers and control your temperature much more effectively that way than background.
I was worried about groundwater.
It's all manageable. It depends on what you want to do, right?
Yeah, if it was on a hill, if I had a hill and good drainage, but I'm in solid clay, so I figured I'd rather just insulate it well. Like the reefer trailer has got another 2 inches of insulation, styrofoam, plus another 4 2x4 wall with pink insulation, and insulated well on top and stuff like that. Like insulation is, you buy it once and it's good forever. Otherwise, you're buying heat. You're spending energy.
Well, my background's industrial construction, so I've seen a lot of technologies that don't hit our level,
right?
Because the engineers keep it for themselves and use it for their bidding projects and all that kind of stuff. But there is lots of stuff available to address those concerns that you just expressed.
Thanks. Please excuse us.
Yeah. Are we done?
It's 2:30.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's time. Okay. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you.